Like we have previously finished with the rigid rotor, the same type of problem, that is the hydrogen or hydrogen atom like problem. Okay, so what are the various steps that we have performed for the obtaining wave function for the rigid rotor? So first we have transferred our wave equation from Cartesian coordinates to the spherical coordinates. From spherical polar coordinates we got the various equation like R equation, T equation and F equation, but for rigid rotor the R is constant, so the first equation, that is R equation, is tends to be 0. So the rigid rotor equation is depends only upon the angular part or the angle only, that is the one is the theta, which is called as a zenith angle, and another one is the phi, which is called as azimuthal angle. Okay, so likewise we have derived for the rigid rotor. The same procedure we are going to do for the hydrogen like or hydrogen atom, but here this first equation, that is R equation, is not a constant. Okay, so here this R, that is internuclear distance, or here we will consider the system like nucleus at a center and electron revolving around the nucleus. Okay, so but in this case this R is not constant. Why is it so? Because like we are representing the in 2D paper, we representing the 1s orbital as what? Simply nucleus at a center and electron is revolving around the nucleus in a circular orbit. But in actual practice it is not a circle. Okay, it is a sphere. So this probability is represented on the 2D box, and the actual shape of the motion of electron around the nucleus is spherical in nature, and we know that spheres are like what? These are not hollow. Okay, these are the rigid sphere. So inside that sphere we can find the electron anywhere. Okay, so that radius of the sphere is r, the radius of the sphere is r, but we know that the electron can reside anywhere inside this sphere. Okay, so we need to consider the like of field ball. Okay, field balls or the any field spherical object. Okay, so here one problem like extra, like previously we have done with theta and F equation, phi equation. So there we have to solve for two equation. Now here again one extra term is arises, that is due to the internuclear distance, which is r. Okay, so again we have to solve the one extra equation r, and for this hydrogen or hydrogen like atom we will consider the system like, so suppose this is my nucleus, okay, at center, and electron is revolving in circular orbit. Okay, in circular orbit in 2D manner, and if you consider the 3D manner, I can say that it is revolving in the spherical manner. Okay, so that's the reason why we are using the spherical coordinates. So this electron is residing or revolving in the spherical motion. Okay, spherical motion. So for this purpose there is two types of motion. Okay, there is two types of motion. Now I am not representing that. Okay, simply I represent, here is nucleus having the mass capital M, and suppose here is my electron. Okay, electron might be anywhere. Okay, here as such, but we are representing its maximum probabilities up to this distance. So this distance is what? How much? R. Okay, this distance is R. So electron let mass of this electron is small m. Okay, small m. So here there are two types of motion. Okay, so as a whole means what? This nucleus plus electron can move from this place to some another place. So this motion is called as a translational motion of whole atom. Okay, translational motion of whole atom. And if suppose this nucleus and electron, okay, this nucleus and electron, okay, suppose I am representing electron here. Okay, so this nucleus and electron may also rotate among this axis. Okay, So along this axis there might be the rotational motion. Okay, rotational motion. So this rotational motion has to be again considered. Okay, so there are two types of motion, that is translational motion and rotational motion. So in order to overcome this, okay, two type or the two variable problem, we have to again use this variable separation method. Okay, so how we are going to use that variable separation method, and like mathematically we are obtaining the wave function, that we can see in this whole derivation. Okay, and this derivation is quite lengthy derivation, because there are first we have to like convert the Cartesian coordinate into the spherical coordinates, then from spherical coordinates we have to like obtain the wave function, then we have to separate that wave function in terms of R, T and F equation, and here we have to solve individual equation, that is T and F equation solution is already known to us, but for the R equation we have to obtain the solution for the R equation also. Okay, so like in theory based exam, the question might be asked in such a manner that explain why this hydrogen atom or the hydrogen like atom represent the two particle problem. Okay, so hydrogen atom, like we know that one nucleus and one electron, and hydrogen like atom is like helium plus. Okay, helium plus is what, two proton at the nucleus. Okay, then one electron, okay, at the external orbital or the valence shell. Okay, because we are using the helium plus. Okay, in the same manner we can say that lithium 2 plus, okay, beryllium 3 plus as such. Okay, so these are the system we called as a hydrogen like system. Okay, so the question is like explain why hydrogen like atom represent the two particle problem, write the Hamiltonian operator and relative coordinates, and why they are necessary. Okay, so why it is necessary to have the that coordinates of the center of mass and the coordinates of the relative, okay, relative motion. So first of all, like we have considered previously also, so this consider the hydrogen like atom which represent the two particle system, in which the nucleus say having the mass of capital M and the charge of what, plus Z into E, where Z is what, its atomic number, E is the individual charge of the proton. So Z into E will give you the overall charge of the nucleus. The charge of electron is given by what, minus E, and the mass of electron is small m. Okay, and the electron is only one, because we are considering only one electron in the valence shell. Okay. Now there is a Coulombic interaction between the oppositely charged species. So there is a attraction, and the Coulombic force of attraction is given by Coulomb's law. So the potential energy which is acting between this nucleus and the electron, which is given by this formula. Okay, which is what, product of charges upon distance between, or the separation distance between the two charges. So the potential energy is what, minus Z E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 into R, because we know that potential energy is inversely related with the internuclear distance. So suppose that x, y, z and the Cartesian coordinates of the nucleus, and small x, y, z are the Cartesian coordinates that of the electron. Okay, so for this system here it should be electron. Okay? Small x, y, z we are representing it for the electronic motion. Okay? So my total Hamiltonian operator is what, total Hamiltonian operator is nothing but the total energy content of the system. So it should be the kinetic energy plus potential energy, and we know that this potential energy is calculated by using Coulomb's law, which comes out to be this much. So for kinetic energy we have to use this Laplacian operator, that is grad. Okay, so how we can calculate the kinetic energy? So kinetic energy is nothing but simply minus h square upon 8 pi square m into grad 1 square, where grad 1 square is representing for the nucleus and here it is for the electron. Okay? So these two terms, first two terms are the kinetic energy and last term is the potential energy for the nucleus and electron. Okay, so for this system there are the two types of motion which are involved. One is the translational motion and another one is the internal motion of a nucleus and electron, and this internal motion is nothing but the rotational motion. So for this Schrödinger equation, which will represent the two types of motion, that is h psi is equals to E psi, where psi is the what wave function of in total 6 variables. Okay, psi is the function of total 6 variables, 3 of that for nucleus, 3 are that for the electron. So in total wave function there are, okay, 6 variables are there. Along with this, the energy E is nothing but the translational energy as well as the rotational energy. Okay, so in order to overcome this, we have to use the to eliminate these 6 variables, we will first convert their 6 variables into some common Cartesian coordinates, and from that Cartesian coordinates we can move to the spherical polar coordinates. Okay, so this potential energy is not depending upon the coordinates of the single particle, so it is difficult to solve this Schrödinger equation without separating this into the two equation. So the corresponding two types of motion, for this case we will introduce the another set of variables, that is capital X, capital Y and capital Z. Okay, so for along X direction, so my motion is represented what, capital M, this is the reduced mass type of or the center of mass coordinates. Okay, these coordinates are the center of mass coordinates, which can be obtained by simply taking the average of the two masses. Okay, average of the two masses and their distance between each other. Okay, so coordinates for the x direction can be obtained by using capital M into x1, which is the position of nucleus, plus small m, that is the mass of electron, into position of electron divided by masses of electron. So from this we can obtain the center of mass coordinate for the x direction, similarly for y direction and for z direction. So for obtaining the coordinates of center of mass, we use the masses of electron and masses of nucleus. Okay, and along this center of mass coordinate, we have to consider the relative coordinates for the rotational motion. Okay, relative coordinates for the rotational motion. So these relative coordinates are nothing but x, y and z. These are the capital symbols, and these are the small symbols. So x is equals to x1 minus capital X1 minus small x1, capital Y1 minus small y1, and for z it is capital Z1 minus small z1. Okay, so xyz, capital xyz represent what, the coordinates of the center of mass, and small xyz will represent the relative coordinates. Okay, so this is considered with the translational motion, this is considered with the rotational motion. So these coordinates which are necessary so as to exhibit the relative motion of the hydrogen atom with respect to electron. So hydrogen atom which exhibit the rotational motion, that is the rotation of electron around the nucleus, and this motion can be described in terms of two angular variables. And which are those two angular variables? So two angular variables are theta and phi, where theta is the zenith angle and the phi is the azimuthal angle. Okay, so here we have seen that there are the two types of motion, and we have separated that two types of motion based upon the variables depending upon the position as well as relative motion. Okay, so we have obtained the two types of coordinates. One is corresponds to the center of mass and another one is corresponds to the relative motion. Okay, so next step is to obtain the Hamiltonian operator. Okay, Hamiltonian for the hydrogen atom. So this Hamiltonian is nothing but total energy, which is the combination of what, addition of this kinetic energy plus potential energy, and kinetic energy can be calculated as minus h square upon 8 pi square mu. Okay, because kinetic energy we consider the reduced mass into grad square, and for potential energy we all know this potential energy depends and can be calculated by using what, Coulomb's law. Okay, Coulomb's law. So for hydrogen atom, R is not a constant value. Okay, because this electron can move in the spherical manner. Okay, and not in the circular manner. So we have to imagine that electron is moving in the spherical manner. So then only we can say that this r is not a constant, and in actual atom that r or the inter that we can say r distance is not a constant one. Okay? So this grad square or the Laplacian operator will be for this hydrogen atom will be same, but this first term, that is 1 upon r square dabba r dabba by dabba r squared dabba by dabba r, this term will not be 0. Okay, for rigid rotor this first term comes out to be 0 because this r is their constant, so this first term comes out to be 0, but for this hydrogen this term we have to consider into the derivation part. Okay, so the remaining part will remain same, that is this is for r equation, this is for t, and this is for f equation. Okay, so that is 1 upon r square sine theta dabba by dabba theta of sine theta dabba by dabba theta plus 1 upon r square sine square theta into d2 upon d phi square. Okay. So this Hamiltonian or the total Hamiltonian is what? Kinetic energy plus potential energy. Okay. So this first term is corresponds to the total kinetic energy for the r, t and f equations, and last term is the potential energy. So overall wave function will be what, or this Schrodinger wave equation is what? H psi is equals to E psi, where H is, like we have previously obtained that H is equals to what? Minus H square upon 8 pi square nu into 1 upon r square dabba r dabba by dabba r of r square dabba dabba I plus 1 upon r square sine theta into dabba by dabba theta into sine theta into dabba by dabba theta plus 1 upon r square sine square theta into d2 upon d phi square plus this potential energy term plus this potential energy term into psi, and all these terms are equals to what? E into psi. Okay, so for there are like quite simplification steps are there, like we have done for the like rigid rotor. And why we are doing that simplification step? Because you want, like, first of all we have to separate that three variables into one variable terms. So we have to, like, first we use the variable separation method, and then once we have obtained that separated functions, then we have to convert that functions into some general mathematical equations which can be solved by using some already known solutions. Okay, so we try to convert our equations into some already known equations so that we can make the general solution for the given equation. So first simplification step is, like, we have taken that h square term on the right hand side. So here it is in the here this term can be moved to the right hand side because this energy, this term is again turns out the constant term. So this overall equation will changes to what? 1 upon r square dabba by dabba r square, okay, into this t equation term, and last one is the f equation term is equals to what? Minus 8 pi square nu upon h square into E psi. Okay, so here just simply multiplication of psi is there, and once we have done that, we can have the overall equation as 1 upon r square dabba by dabba r into r square dabba psi upon dabba r plus 1 upon r square sine theta dabba by dabba theta of sine theta into d psi upon d theta minus plus 1 upon r square sine square theta, here it should be plus, okay, plus d2 psi upon d phi square, it is equals to what? Minus 8 pi square mu into E upon h square minus v into psi, okay, whole bracket into psi. So this is the equation, or the Schrodinger wave equation for the hydrogen atom system. So this equation is what? Second order differential equation along with three independent variable, that is r, t or r theta and phi. So in order to solve such equation, what we need to do? We have to use the variable separation method. So we will consider that variable separation method as that wave function is the combination of three separate equations having one variables each, that is psi is the combination of r equation Okay, here it should be into, okay, and not a plus. Here it is mistake. Here it should be into, okay. Here it should be also into. So that wave function psi of r, theta and phi is equals to r of r, that is our equation, into t of theta into f of phi. Okay, so how we can make that conversion from one equation to the that variable separation method, we can see that in the next lecture. Okay.